and I think the video after that will be anime related. So the anime video that I was working on, the next video will be an anime video. Yes, it's time. I've been talking about making this anime video for like, what, 3 months now, and it's finally happening after many delays. Today, I'm going to be bringing back a video style I haven't done in a while. It's been over a year actually since I've done a video like this, and that's 3 reasons to watch or read a anime or manga. The last 2 videos I did like this have done pretty decent, at least in my opinion, but the reason I haven't made more videos like this is because there just haven't been any anime or manga that have interested me enough to talk about until now. I actually had this idea back in April, but you know, corona, quarantine, all that good horrible shit. But this video is going to be a little different. Instead of talking about a specific anime or manga, today I'll be talking about a genre. And that genre is Isekai, where a girl is transported to a game/otherworld where they are the main villainess.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now I know you might be thinking, no show, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never heard of this genre before. And I know, that's why I'm making this video. I also couldn't think of a better way to describe it, but hopefully it all makes sense by the end of the video, so make sure you watch to the end. Or don't, you know, y'all got free will. It would make me happy if you did, but like, you don't got to. I'm not putting a gun to your head. Now, before I talk about why you should get into this genre, I gotta give you some backstory as to how I got into it. So back in April, I found an anime called Otome Game no Hametsu Flag Shike Nai Akayaku Reijo ni Tensai Shite Shimata. Jeez, that's a long ass name, and I already know I butchered the pronunciation, so going forward, I'm gonna be using its English name, My Next Life, as a villainess, all routes lead to doom. Anyways, I found this anime and its description really caught my eye. It's about a girl who realizes she was reborn into the world of an otome game she played. Otome games are dating simulators usually geared toward women where they can get with different guys depending on how they interact with them, and this will change how the story of the game progresses and ends. So the main character in this anime realizes she's in a game world and has regained her memories of her past life. Sounds like your typical isekai / transfer to another world anime, right? But here's the kicker, she's not the protagonist. Instead, she's the main villainess of the game, and her goal is to make it to her graduation date without raising a death flag and being killed. And she does so using her knowledge of the game that she played in her past life. After watching the first episode, I was hooked. So hooked that I couldn't wait for the next episode to come out, so I binged all the chapters of the manga within a day. But that wasn't enough for me. So what did I do? I'll tell you what I did. I went and looked for more manga with a similar theme and binge read them too. Now I know that sounds bad, but it could be worse. I could be doing crack. So when you think of it in that regard, binge reading multiple series in the span of a day doesn't sound too bad, right? Plus we were like a month into quarantine. I was bored, so don't judge me. But anyways, let's get back to the topic. I found lots of similar manga, but there were 3 that I really enjoyed. I'm gonna skip the Japanese names this time and go straight to the English ones so I don't get clowned. So the names of these manga were Pure Moon Empire Story, Fiance's observation record of a self-proclaimed villainess, and accomplishments of the Duke's daughter. I'm not going to go into the specific plot of each of these manga right now, but I'll reference them along with what I like about each as I'm explaining why you should get into this genre of anime and manga. Now without further ado, here's 3 reasons to watch and read isekai anime and manga where a girl is transported to another game/otherworld where they are the main villainess. Yes, it's a mouthful every time I say it, and yes, I will be saying the whole thing every time. Reason number 1 to get into this genre of anime and manga, the theme is unique, at least to me. That's right, this ain't your average shonen with an overpowered MC who wants to be the strongest in the world or defeat the Demon King. I want to be Hokage head ass. I want to be the Pirate King head ass. I want to be the #1 hero head ass. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with those kinds of anime and manga. I enjoy them a lot. It's just that it's an oversaturated field, so after reading and watching so many, it gets stale, especially when they aren't done well. But that's not the case with these anime and manga, because they take isekai, a genre of anime and manga that's become very popular in the last few years, which has also caused it to be oversaturated, and puts a fresh spin on it. Instead of following the journey of a male MC who's been transported into a game or other world, we get to see the story of females who have also been transported, but in the positions of villains and rivals that your typical isekai main character would defeat or cast out. And that brings about 2 great things. For one, we get female MC. And you might be thinking, well, that's nothing new. And you're right, but it's not something you see frequently, and that's especially true for the isekai genre. 90% of the time, it's a male MC, which is understandable because it's easier for the target audience to relate to them and immerse themselves in the story. And the few times there are female MCs, they're your typical kawaii moe character who heavily relies on other characters and doesn't face much severe adversity. And while there's nothing wrong with that, you know, you're allowed to like what you like, but in my opinion, it is a little boring. What's the point of having a female MC if they're just gonna have a male character carry them the whole time, both figuratively and literally? I need some savage female MCs in the Isekai world. I'm talking about some Princess Mononoke, some Valmet from Jormungand, some Balalaika from Black Lagoon, you know, the kind of girls who aren't afraid to catch a body. And while the anime and manga I'm recommending in this video don't go to that extreme, at least from what I've read and watched so far, they do have capable and strong-willed female MCs who are able to thrive and succeed in the harsh situations they've been thrown into. The other great thing these kinds of anime and manga bring out is we get to see a different side of the story. History is written by the victor, and that is very true when it comes to Isekai, which leads into my second reason why you should read and watch anime and manga where a girl is transported to a game/otherworld where they are the main villainess. It's like a pimp named Slickback or a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing every single time. It's nice to see a story from the villain's perspective once in a while, and be able to experience the stuff they have to deal with. Whether that be an evil princess, like Maya in Tear Moon, or an abandoned daughter of a duke, like in the Duke's Daughter's accomplishments. We get to see their side of the story, which is usually left out or barely touched upon. In your standard isekai, the villainess is branded as a vile, despicable woman who serves to only harm the heroine who the main character has fallen in love with, which at first glance makes them sound horrible, but think of it like this. Let's say you were engaged to the love of your life, you live together, you can't wait for the day you get married to them. But then you get a new neighbor who you feel is getting too close to your betrothed, and because you love your partner so much, you do everything to stop that, even if it means doing some malicious things. Only to find out your partner never loved you, chastises you for the things you did to your neighbor, and leaves you for them. Like it's fucked, cause from your point of view, you were only doing what you did to save your relationship, just for it to be for nothing. And this genre of anime and manga does a good job of showing this. A great example of this is in the Duke's Daughter. Even though she was abandoned by her fiance, the second prince, in the first few chapters, she's pained by the experience throughout the rest of the manga, no matter what she does to forget or get over it. And it makes it even worse when you realize that these relationships aren't between your average teenagers. They are political marriages between high-ranking families of a monarchy. So the fact that a prince would literally jeopardize his whole kingdom by calling off an arranged marriage is insane. Now you can make the argument of, oh, it's an arranged marriage, the prince never really loved the villainess, and you're not wrong. But here's the thing, why wait till the last minute to call off your marriage? Because in most isekai, the prince only calls it off when everyone confronts the villainess and decides to either kill her or exile her. Why not call it off as soon as you fall in love with the heroine? Why not call it off as soon as you're old enough to, instead of stringing the villainess along? It's because they're pussies. They know that they'd get in trouble for calling off a political marriage, so they only do it when it's convenient and they can get off scot-free, which is when the villainess gets confronted. And another thing, sure, the marriage is arranged, but in most isekais, the villainesses have genuine feelings for the person they're engaged with. If the princes just took time to get to know the villainesses, I'm sure they could easily fall for them. And that's shown in My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, and Fiance's observation record of a self-proclaimed villainess. The prince in these anime get to know the villainess they're engaged to, find out how amazing they are, and end up falling in love with them. And that raises the question, what happens to the heroines in these cases? Which leads perfectly into my final reason why you should watch and read anime and manga where a girl is transported to a game/otherworld where they are the main villainess. Just like in life, things in this genre of anime and manga aren't all black and white. People who you think are bad are actually good, and vice versa. And that doesn't just apply to the main characters. In this case, it's the villainesses who are genuinely good people, such as Catalina or Berta, or the villainesses who have done wrong but are trying to do their best to do good after being given a second chance, such as Iris and Mia. It also applies to the side characters. In the previous point, I talked about what happens to heroines if the prince ends up falling in love with the villainess after actually getting to know them. In My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, we get a happy scenario where the heroine also turns out to be nice and befriends Catalina, which is fine, but is not as interesting as accomplishments of the Duke's Daughter and Fiance's observation record of a self-proclaimed villainess, where in these manga the heroines turn out to be villains. In the Duke's Daughter, the heroine is actually a spy from a rival kingdom, and in the self-proclaimed villainess, the heroine uses her spirit to cast love spells on people, including the prince, so that they will come to her side and make the prince fall for her. The only difference is that throughout the Duke's Daughter, many people, such as the second prince, continue to believe that the heroine is a good person as she slowly destroys the kingdom from within. In the self-proclaimed villainess, everyone is aware of the heroine's evil intentions and are able to avoid falling for her tricks. In both cases, we get great complex stories that really drive home the point that you can't take everything at face value. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you're a fan of isekai anime and manga, or are just looking for something new to read or watch, I recommend checking these anime and manga out, especially Accomplishments of the Duke's Daughter. In my opinion, out of all the anime and manga that I've talked about today, it's the one that is most polished in my opinion, and it's the one that I am enjoying the most so far. As always, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. If you enjoyed, drop a like on it, and if you want to see more content like this, consider subbing to the channel. The next video, or at least the next one I have planned, is going to be a little different but very interesting, so be on the lookout for that. It should be out in around a month, but again, I'm not making any promises because this video was supposed to come out like 3 weeks ago, but I've been loafing. But like, you know, cut me some slack, bro. It's Corona. I got a job, bro. It's hard out here, but not really. I'm just lazy, so there's not really any excuses, if I'm being honest. On that note, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.